All right, so good afternoon, everybody. It is now 2 o'clock on the dot. I want to say a quick hello, welcome, and a very good afternoon to all of you who's joining us today. Thank you all, first of all, from JVS and RBC, our co-hosted event. My name is Jane. I'm the Assistant Branch Manager from RBC Meeting Place, and I will be your host today and the moderator. Well, in these unprecedented times, we want to share how COVID has affected all of our lives differently. And I'm so excited to be joined by our expert RBC panel as we address these questions and thoughts and feelings and experiences and more. Well, we have a lot planned for you today, so I'm going to get started by sharing the agenda. So we'll get Sylvia from JVS to kick us off. Then we have our community branch manager, my boss, Jeff Price, to say a quick hello from RBC. Then we're going to head into introduction about a little bit about RBC and what the RBC Meeting Place is all about, which is where I work. And then we're going to have our three panelists here today to share how does COVID-19 affect you and your family personally and professionally, and some strategies used to cope with these changes by Rebecca. And then we'll go into career journey, the transition to North America from our commercial account manager, Janna. And then we'll end it with advice on different ways to transfer skills into the Canadian labor force with our Shan, our senior commercial account manager. And hopefully at the end, we'll have some time for some questions and answers. Please do use the chat box to enter those questions and answers. So without further ado, I'm going to pass this invisible mic over to Sylvia Chang, JVS Toronto. Please go ahead, Sylvia.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Hope you can all hear me. My name is Sylvia, and I'm from Employment Source Markham. I just wanted to say hello to everybody attending, our existing clients, and welcome anybody who's new to JVS Toronto, and of course, as well, our lovely speakers from RBC. So today is another one of our sessions in the Expert Talk series that JVS Toronto is hosting. Since we're doing our best to continue to support job seekers virtually, as most of us are stuck at home now. We've been around for more than 70 years. JVS Toronto has been playing a vital role in Toronto and York region to make sure that job seekers can reach their full potential at work, employers can build the workforce that they need to be successful, and also to help students perform at their very best. So we offer many different programs for those who are unemployed and underemployed. That includes any job seekers who may have been laid off, recent graduates, people with disabilities or barriers, internationally trained professionals, youth, etc. And we hold these services across 9 different locations in the Greater Toronto area. So you can search on our website to see which one is closest to you, and then have one of our employment experts meet with you one-on-one to help determine your specific employment needs, okay? So before we get started, I just wanted to talk about 2 of our programs. One of them is the one we do under Employment Ontario, and this is our general job search assistance program. So what we will do is we'll help you with job search navigation, we'll help you with job matching and job development, resume, social media and LinkedIn targeting, career exploration, and even access to financial employment supports that you might need. This includes clarifying your career interests if you're not too sure what you want to do, or you just want to specify your skills and see what opportunities are available. We'll help you edit and prepare a resume that does get responses from employers, then build the confidence to present yourself at the job interviews you get after that. And of course, as both of us want, get the job offer from the employer at the end. And then the other program that we also offer, and I want to bring note to, is Canada InfoNet. So this is an 8-week employment program for internationally trained individuals who will be relocating to Canada within the next 12 months or so. They have to have an approved Canadian immigrant visa, but how we can help them is we'll work on in-depth job search preparation, online mentoring to get you that head start before you come to Canada, and how you can be successful in the Canadian workplace and navigate the Canadian employment market. And of course, we will also provide you some employer connections. And then moving on, just a little bit of housekeeping for this session. So all participant lines will be muted, so you won't be able to use your mics for this. Just so you know, this webinar is being recorded and it will be available on our JVS blog afterwards if you wanted to replay anything or review or you missed some parts of this. If you have any questions about any JVS programs or for the facilitators, RBC, there will be a Q&A session at the end of the webinar, as Jane mentioned. So you can, but you can type your questions into the questions window at any time. So after this, there will be a follow-up email that is sent off. It's just a post-webinar survey just to get a little feedback on what you think of our expert talks. Okay, and without further delay, I give the mic back to Jane.
Thank you very much, Sylvia. Up next, we have our Community Branch Manager, Jeff Price. Over to you, Jeff.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Jane, and thank you, Sylvia, for having us here today. It's very exciting that, we don't often get three, of our commercial experts, Janna, Rebecca, and Shan, to join us. So thank you all in advance for your time today. I think it's a great opportunity. I love to see that we've got 66 attendees on here right now. So one just dropped off, but it's great to see a good turnout. I hope everybody gets a lot of use out of this. And we really appreciate the partnership that we have with JVS. A little bit about myself. So I'm a community branch manager. I've been in banking for 17 years, both as a professional, sales professional, and as a leader. And I have a very strong passion for helping my clients and my colleagues and my community achieve their goals. I joined RBC in August of 2008, where I've spent the last 12 years, and it's been an amazing 12 years, I gotta say. Throughout my career, I've held positions such as client advisor, where I started at the very beginning, building a strong foundation. Went on to become a banking advisor, financial advisor, moved over into the business side, was a business account manager, commercial account manager, senior commercial account manager, and the last 2.5 years I've spent as a branch and community manager here in Markham. We're very fortunate that we get to partner with Jane and their meeting place to get out to events like this. It's something that I'm very passionate about, getting involved in the community, helping people, whether it's mentoring, coaching sports as well, but coaching individuals to help throughout their career. And I just love being at all of these things, as Jane can attest to. So, that's a little bit about me, but I really want to thank you guys all and thank our panelists. I think you guys are going to get a lot of information. We're lucky to have such a great group of speakers today, and I'll leave it to you guys.
Thank you, Jeff. I couldn't agree more. I am so super excited for our expert talk today, especially with our commercial team. They have so much to bring to the table, and I can't wait to get started. But before that, I'd like to introduce myself very quickly. Again, my name is Jane. I am the Assistant Branch Manager at the RBC Meeting Place. I am part of Jeff's team. I report directly to him. Again, I couldn't do this without his help, really, his support and passion in newcomers. So I joined RBC about 8 years ago. Wow, time flies. But reflecting upon my 8 years, as a newcomer to Canada about 30 years ago, I was looking at some of the things over the weekend because I'm cleaning up to make some room for my nursery, so I'm excited. And I found my report card from grade 4. And on the report card, it says, my teacher's comment was, Jane is trying so hard to understand basic English language. And boom, 30 years later, I am in front of all of you, so privileged, so happy to share my experience along with other newcomers here today who's made it. And we hope that our words, our advice, and our journey inspires you and motivate you as well. So over the last 8 years, from a teller position, which we call client advisor, all the way until now, an assistant branch manager, I had help with so many different managers and mentors, such as Jeff. Very fortunate to be a part of such a great organization that truly cares about newcomers. My current role is probably one of my favorite roles. I did not have a banking background. I studied sociology and wanted to be a social worker. My passion was always to help others, and here I am doing it a different way that RBC allows me to do. So thank you for that. And outside of work, I'm pretty active before I became pregnant. I play volleyball, I play baseball, a lot of sports teams because I like socializing with people. And in my downtime, I love watching movies. And recently, I've developed a new, hobby, forced or not, Xbox games because my husband is a big gamer. So that's just a little bit about me professionally and personally. So before we get to our main speaker, I want to cover a little bit about RBC. For those who are not as familiar, there's two folds to this reason. First, we're here because of RBC and JVS partnership. Second, I know a lot of you are looking to get into different banking, different workforce. So the first thing that I did when I was looking for a job is understand the company. Does this company's value and mission and purpose align with mine? That's how I chose to work for RBC. So what's RBC's purpose? Well, our purpose is to help our clients thrive and communities prosper. And that's why we're here today, providing some advice in times during these unprecedented times to make sure that you feel supported and provide some help. And we do other educational seminars to help you with your banking knowledge and more. Vision to be the world's most trusted and successful financial institution. So really proud to say that we are number one right now and recently have won JD Power 4 out of 5 years, and this year once again is ours. But I don't think that had happened by accident. All of these achievements that we did is through living through our values. RBC have about 80,000 employees, but we're all guided by one set of values that we are all going by. So first is client first. We always earn the right to be our client's first choice. Without our clients, there is no RBC. Without you, there really isn't us. Collaboration, we win as one RBC. Even though commercial team here we have today, our guest speakers, are not in the same line of business as us, but we are partners and we work collectively as one RBC to make sure our clients and our communities prosper. Accountability, we take our ownership for personal and collective high performance. We're proud to work for an organization that cares so deeply about our newcomers and our community. Diversity and inclusion, I think that's why we're so successful. Just like Canada is a very successful and a very attractive country to live in, because of the diversity of thought, experience, and the people all around the world bringing their own perspectives. Same as RBC, we embrace our differences, we include our differences, and that's what makes us such a strong organization. Integrity, we hold ourselves to the highest standards to build trust. Without trust, there really isn't business. You do business with someone because you trust in them. And to work for RBC, we do have a few checks that you need to go through to make sure, because we handle money all the time. What's more important? Money helps us live one of our best lives that we can. So that's a little bit about RBC. So here's my core team. RBC Meeting Place is it's 3 people. However, that's not entirely true. That's just a core team. So Jeff, myself, and Ria. But along with that, we have a big support team, all of RBC. So going back to our value, we work as one RBC to provide support, connections, and network to our newcomer community. And here's our panelists from the RBC commercial team who's on the line with us today, being our partner, being our support team to deliver this to you. I will officially introduce them later on in the presentation. So if this was done in person, we actually do have a physical location. Currently, due to COVID, we're still closed, but we have plans to reopen as soon as the government rules guidance is been provided. So here's the RBC Meeting Place, where it's just a warm, open space to answer all of your questions, banking or not banking related. It is in Markham, but we have another location in Brampton as well. So post-COVID, please feel free to come by and say hello. We work with a lot of community partners. Definitely JVS is one of our key partners, and we love working with them because they really do help our newcomers, and we want to help them in helping you. And these are some of the examples of advice events that we've done in the future, and they include, workshops like this, talks like this. However, there are fraud prevention workshops, HR tips and tricks, financial literacy, more, and so on. aside from doing community work, we are still a banking location. So if you have any personal questions that you're shy about asking, or you want to set up an education account for your children, you're thinking about buying your first home, wanted some questions about interview questions, or anything that comes to your mind, banking or not banking related, please feel free to contact us. I will be your primary contact, and we will share my contact after fact, but we can do so much more, just like a regular bank, but more. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our first presenter today. Her name is Rebecca. She is a VP of Commercial Services at RBC, where she leads a team of relationship managers with a focus on Asian markets in Toronto to provide commercial banking services. She has 20 plus years of experience in banking and other industries, including progressive leadership roles in strategy, investment banking, mergers and acquisitions, retail channels, analytics, and corporate development in Canada, US, and China with companies such as McKinsey & Company, T-Mobile, US, and Merrill Lynch. Rebecca received her MBA from Stanford University Graduate School of Business and later earned her Chartered Financial Analyst and Chartered Business Valuator designation. Rebecca currently serves as the board of Toronto Zoo and was previously appointed as the Dean Council member of Ryerson University, Ted Rogers School of Management, and currently as an advisor for Ted Rogers Leadership Center. Wow, what an impressive resume. I almost ran out of breath reading it, but can you imagine just earning how much it is to earn all of this? So Rebecca, before I hand it to you, I want you to share a little bit about your experience as a newcomer. And then, I want to hear about the challenges, the triumphs, and everything that you've experienced as a newcomer, and now a woman in banking, a leader, a VP of Commercial Financial Services. So over to you, Rebecca. Oh, can't hear you right now. Sorry, Rebecca.
Can you hear me?
Yes, perfect now.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Technology. Okay, it worked. So hi everyone. Thank you so much, Jane. And I'm really grateful that at RBC, my day job and my team are helping immigrant business owners to grow their business. But at the same time, we can get connected through the partnership with JVS and in many different ways to get connected with other immigrant and newcomer and share some of our experience. You're absolutely right. I came here, actually, I probably the newest newcomer. I came here in 2008, and I too went through, I would say, quite a bit of professional and personal struggle the first couple of years, right? Obviously finding a job and getting plugged into the country. And I do find, over the years, once I get more comfortable with my career, actually spending time to get connected to the community is what I feel most helpful in grounding myself to be a proud Canadian. So I always encourage people, yes, we immigrant, the first priority is get settled down with your family and find a job that you're passionate and feel you can contribute to your employer. But I think more importantly, I would say doing something for the community is very rewarding, like what you're doing, Jane. So thank you again for the opportunity. We will move to the next slide.
Rebecca, you're so humble. And I just wanted to touch on one thing. When Rebecca heard about the meeting place, she's a VP, I'm an assistant branch manager. She came to me and introduced herself to me and said, Jane, how can I help our newcomers to Canada? I was just so blown away. I thought I should share that. Yes, I'm going to the next slide.
Thank you. So how does COVID-19 affect myself and my family personally and professionally? So where did I start? So thinking back in March, middle of March or early March, I was in Florida with my family, March break in Disney World. So it's a surreal experience. Like we are lining up for all the Disney ride with Mickey Mouse and Princess and Prince, rubbing shoulder with probably 10,000 people on that day. while at the same time checking my phone, the world is falling apart, closing border, and then we cut short our trip, came back to Canada, luckily. And then obviously, then we get into voluntary 14-day of quarantine. The first thought come to mind is, oh my God, how am I going to keep my marriage? Me and my husband never face each other for 14 days straight. That's really scary. And the second thought is, how are we going to survive with the food? Obviously, we still survive as a couple and we survive as a family. If you can move to the next slide, is long story short, I think all of us are really adjusting to the new normal. And, there a lot of meeting or face-to-face interaction become virtual. And I think at the beginning it's interesting, we feel we're tech savvy, learning about technology. And I think at this point, many of us probably feel a bit of Zoom or web app fatigue with back-to-back web app meeting, like my ear can't take it anymore. And the other biggest challenge is I think all my colleagues right now, they know how my son looked like. Jane, you probably have seen my son in my background every now and then. It's definitely true. Working parents, managing demanding job while, be the teacher for your kids at home is real challenge. And making sure, we do want our son to understand what's going on with the world, but at the same time, you want to desensitize a little bit for him to be able to understand and feel safe, right? And the third thing is like what you said, right? Being a leader, managing a team virtually, making sure everyone is feeling safe and healthy mentally and physically, and still feeling connected with the team is a big challenge. And the fourth thing, in the past when we have to travel to work, we have the traffic jam. Now we have the internet jam. So I only have 4 people in my home, but probably 10 devices, right? And when my mother-in-law is YouTube streaming Korean drama and my son is, watching online, I don't know, home video, my husband is working, it's just not going to happen sometimes. And it's frustrating, technology. And all of those, like, there's no boundary between work and family. You see parents checking on the phone while having dinner. It's true. There are days I feel my work just nonstop, right? I start at 7 when I wake up and it probably ends right before I go to bed. And all of these can create mental stress and pressure. But what I also want to say is this is probably the time, for some of you, maybe the first crisis. For me, it's the third and the fourth crisis, but it's definitely the most unprecedented time that I have faced, and it challenged a lot of the conventional way of living, working, interacting with people, and just handling myself. And it pushed you to out of your comfort zone to be creative and to be agile. What we find is individual level or at a big corporation like RBC or a lot of our senior leaders, we have to be very agile and act on the fly and come up with solutions. And that's amazing when you look back. I'm sure, next year or 10 years later, when we all look back, we'll be quite impressed by how quick we move. A lot of the things that we have been saying, we cannot do this, this will never work. Someone tried in the past, we're not ready. Be done. Task can be done. So I think that in itself is quite an accomplishment.
You're coming in and out a little bit, Rebecca.
Okay, let me slow down a little bit. Do let me know.
So good now.
On the other hand, some of us, because of less traveling and less commuting, we do have more time to reflect and think about, what work means to us, what family means to us, and probably spend more time with the family. And I do find I get to know my son much better than before because I'm looking, working with him on his homework or spending more time with him every day. And some of us find, now is the best time to pick up hobby that you have been, saying no time, too busy to do that. I pick up again playing piano, and I pick up playing domino with my son. So these are all great treasures that we didn't have the time to pursue in the past. If you move to the next page, so coping strategy. So I will emphasize this is not so much about just coping strategy for COVID-19 or work from home. I will see it as coping strategy for, for any time you feel challenged or you're fighting an uphill battle, or just, being an immigrant that you have to uproot yourself and replant it in a new country. So these are the coping strategy I used when I first came here in 2008, and these are the same strategy that I use right now, dealing with work from home, COVID-19, or a recession in economy. How can I help my client and help my team? The first icon, obviously, is around the clock. It's not working around the clock, don't get me wrong, but really having a daily routine, right? Especially the whole family is working from home. How do you coordinate with each other so that, we get to accomplish what you need to accomplish for my work, my husband's work, my son's schoolwork, while at the same time we can enjoy time with each other as a family. And weave into that daily routine, obviously, exercising, eating healthy, are always important, but even becomes so much more important during a crisis like that. I personally find it at the beginning of the pandemic, I like to spend a lot of time reading on the news, social media, how many cases in this country, that country, the whole world. And, you have a false sense of the more I know, maybe the more I can cope with. But quite ironically, the more you know, the more you get stressed out, and you cannot solve any of those. So I always say, don't waste too much time consuming social media. It adds no value to you. But if you're stressed, exercising, sleeping well, and eating healthy is probably the most helpful thing you can do to yourself. And then the right-hand side icon is, despite right now we cannot see each other, and I do miss my team, and we have been talking about when we're going to have a big meal somewhere, sometime in the future. So I do look forward to the day that I can see people in person. But I also find this is the best time to reach out to people, like from a networking perspective, from a relationship deepening perspective, that you didn't get the time in the past. Those coffee chat is so hard to coordinate in the past. Now it's just a one phone call away, one web app away. And now I have back-to-back web app call, and I find it great to get to know people. And also because of the web apps and people working from home, I got to see their home environment. Sometimes people have their kids' photo at the background. So I do feel it's a different way, and actually you are able to connect with the other person at a different level, deeper level. The lemon there, obviously we all say squeezing lemon from lemon. I think that's perfect description of what we're facing today. This is definitely a human tragedy, a huge loss for a lot of the lives. But at the same time, see it as an opportunity for you to slow down and think about, take stock of where you're at and what you want to focus for your future, building your career. It could be time for you to take some online courses for data analytics, for design thinking, or courses to improve your communication, presentations, etc., or just to read a book that you never got a chance to read, right? So there are so many possibilities. Even when you feel your job has been slow or the job searching process has been basically halt for the moment. And I think the last icon is from an unhappy face to a smiley face. This is about reframing. It's so important. At RBC, we have the training from one of the outside trainer about reframing. And Jane, you were in one of those training. I think it's so important, not just for dealing with client, helping client, but for every one of us to be able to reframe. For example, right now, as an immigrant or newcomer or as a job seeker, you probably always have the thinking that, oh, I send out 100 letters, I get no response, I'm not good enough. I'm a newcomer, I'm a minority woman, I'm never going to get a job in Canada. It's never going to happen to me. Or you reframe it as, okay, so I may have room for improvement in how I write the resume or the application letter. Maybe next time I can do a little bit of networking and reach out to the right people on LinkedIn so that I can get the insider scoop before I apply to the job. So reframing is so powerful. It's not just about optimistic, but really have the confidence to know what you're facing. Could be situational or scenario, and you don't need to make it so personal that your own capability or ability is in doubt. It's all about a particular situation. So I hope these are helpful for people not just coping with work from home, but also coping with whatever challenges you're facing and build a resilient muscle. Thank you, Jane.
Thank you, Rebecca, for sharing some great tips. I too feel that, you know, my hobbies have developed. First 2 weeks working from home, I was like, yes, fantastic. And then after 2 weeks, I was like, oh my goodness, I want to kill my husband. And then, you know, you eat a lot of food, you develop gaming, you go into baking. I've never been such a good chef in my life, but very interesting. But finally, I really liked your reframing. Yes, at RBC, we do talk about how to reframe our minds to be more focused, not so much in the negative, like how can we turn the situation, see it as half water full instead of half water empty. So thank you for sharing that tip. Next, we have Janna Wu, who's our commercial account manager at RBC, focusing on the Asian market in the Greater Toronto area to provide commercial banking services. She has 25 years plus banking, accounting, and other industry experiences. For the past 12 years, Janna had worked in different roles in commercial banking, including credit underwriter, commercial account manager, credit advisor, and manager in credit processing transformation. Janna has a good business and real estate lending practice in helping business transactions and growth. Janna also obtained her MBA and MS from Pace University in New York City, where she also worked with a public accounting firm and commercial bank. Janna loves nature and enjoys outdoor activities. Janna was twice in Ride for Heart in Toronto, biking 50 kilometers for run and fundraising. Wow, Janna, over to you. Tell us more.
Oh, sure. Yes. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, JVS, for this opportunity. And to our all attendees today, to all newcomers, I would like to extend my warm welcome to you. Welcome to Canada. I wish you all will have a smoothly transition to the new country and will develop a successful career, enjoy a prosperous life here. Before I start, could you please go to the next page, Jen?
For sure.
Yeah, I'm very happy to, next page, please. Yeah, I'm very happy to share my career journey here because I'm a newcomer here about 12 years ago to Canada. Yeah, so before I start to share my journey, I would like to give you myself my 3 labels so you can get to know me. My first label, I'm a financial professional, as you know. And my second label, I love outdoor activities. You also know I like biking, hiking, camping, and canoeing. Yeah, you know how I miss it very much at this time. My third label is I'm a Christian. I originally came from China. I grew up in China. I got my university and bachelor degree there. I also worked a couple of years there. I went to USA before I came to Canada. To USA, I would like to have my MD education there. That's a long-time design, yeah. So I got an MBA and an extra MS in a private graduate school in New York City. After a few years study, I got my degree, and I got my first full-time job in a public accounting firm. So the job in a public accounting firm is a very good start for my career to get into the commercial banks. Because I was doing the job in the public accounting firm, I was associate external auditor. So it's an entry-level job, but it helps me to know a lot about financial institutions, like the financial institutions operations, banking system, reporting, fundamental skills of assurance, etc. So and after the auditing job, I was able to transfer myself to a commercial bank, where I got my second full-time job in USA as a credit underwriter. Then come to 2008 spring, I immigrated to Canada. I drove from New York to Toronto, in 2 days. So as everybody knows, in USA, there are over like 2,000 financial institutions. However, in Canada, the financial services are pretty much dominated by the top 5 banks. So in the beginning, I was looking for a job in a bank. I hopefully to look for some similar job in those 5 top banks. Luckily, I got a chance to join the Financial Connection Program organized by Access Employment. So I think everybody might know this not-profit organization, especially to help newcomers to find a job in Canada. The program, especially the name is Financial Program, especially to help newcomers to find jobs in the financial institutions like banks. So through this program, I was connected to RBC commercial banking and got my first job in Canada as a commercial account manager in RBC. That was able to continue my career in commercial banking. Seeing that was some similar job as I did in USA as a credit underwriter. So that type of job is to have a group of business clients, serve their needs, develop new customers, and to write the credit application. So one of the most important jobs for this as a commercial account manager is to help the client to apply the credit. So the bank can lend money to the business, either the business start a business or a relatively matured business. So the business can start and grow. Then I would like to say RBC is a great company, and sometimes I was amazed about seeing people working in one job for 20 years or 30 years. However, like in RBC, if you like, you will have many chances to try different roles. It is a relatively dynamic environment to encourage people to change. So my career in RBC for the past 12 years, I did 3 different roles with different focus in commercial banks. So my first 3 years was a commercial account manager, like balancing between customers' relationship and development. My second 3 years was a credit advisor for credit review and adjudication, only focusing on credit lending. So on my third 2 to 3 years job in RBC was doing a project, designing credit transformation, the process. So after a few years working in the middle and back office, I found their changes are so quickly outside of the bank. I feel like I kind of lost some connections outside of the world. So at that time, I said, okay, a few years ago, like 3 years ago, I was thinking maybe I should come back to do the commercial account manager role so I can get connected with outside again. And in a way, I can be exposed more to the market, seeing, observing the quickly changing in the world. Of course, that will be more challenging in a way so you can learn more skills. Saying that, now I back to do the commercial account manager role for the past 3 years. I feel like something worth mentioning is that besides of those the fundamental work we're doing now, so the most important thing we are doing is to connect with people outside, to talk to the business owners and find their needs, give them a financial business advice. So those are very valuable things we're doing. They sometimes accomplished, we also be happy for what they got. So I think those are my career journey in North America and in Canada. I hope I can give you some like the reference when you're thinking how you want to get into some industry, how you want to develop your career in the next few years. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Janna. Wow. So like many of you online here today, have found different ways by JVS, whether it's Access, whether it's Seneca, different bridging programs to help you get to where you are. So, and Janna is where she is right now. So, you know, that speaks to volumes of these organizations partnering with the different financial institutions really want to get you settled into where you belong, and you should belong soon. All right, so last but not the least, our final guest speaker is Shan Tang. She's our Senior Account Manager from RBC Royal Bank, and a very proud and trusted strategic advisor to CEOs, executives, and entrepreneurs to ensure that company financial success. Her career in Canadian banking industry started with RBC since 2005. After completion of MBA program from University of Guelph, she has in-depth experience with retail and commercial banking through various roles within the bank, including both leadership roles and client-facing roles. Prior to the current role, she was the Regional Vice President of Markham Integrated Markets, enabling a high performance and talent development of 200 plus branch advisors. Shan is known for her entrepreneurial leadership, strategic thinking, change agility, and collaborative approach. Outside of work, Shan is a busy mother of 2 children. She also enjoys delivering value to others and contributing to the community through mentorship, volunteerism, and fundraising initiatives. I have to add a little piece of a personal story with Shan. Shan used to be my boss's boss's boss. We've worked together before, but the titles really didn't stop her from caring about an individual. I remember one year I was having a really tough year, and Shan came to my office as an RBP Regional Vice President. She said, "Hey, Jane, how are you doing?" And that day, I was just having such a hard day, and I'm like, "Good." And then I had tears coming down my eyes. She's like, "Oh my goodness, what's wrong?" I said, "I can't really talk about it. It was an open space." And she actually booked a call with me and make sure that I was okay. Ever since then, honestly, my husband and myself were part of that 200 people of branch network that she once managed, and really benefited from her mentorship. So thank you, Shan. I would never forget that. But that's why we're so happy to have you here today to share your advice experience with all of us. So over to you.
Well, thanks, Jane. This was a very touching moment. I'm so thrilled to reconnect with you through this opportunity. And good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for inviting me to join this JVS Industry Expert Talk session. I'm thrilled to have this opportunity to meet you virtually today and talk about the skill transformation and how to position ourselves for future success in Canadian labor market. So as Jane introduced, it was a mouthful introduction. I'm sorry for that. My name is Shan. Same as you, I was an immigrant at a point of time. I came to Canada in 2003 and have been with the bank of RBC for almost 15 years. I joined RBC as branch manager trainee and have been through various leadership roles, including most recent leadership role of RBP, managing a team of people, and current role as a senior commercial account manager, directly helping entrepreneurs, business owners, and their respective teams. I've led people through many opportunities for skill transformation in banking sector. And I've seen also business owners in action in a very agile way and create different talent management models in order to cope with different challenges and economic conditions. So today, I'm very happy to have this opportunity to share some of my learnings. Next slide, please, Jane. I'd like to start to set the stage to talk about perspective of crisis. 2020 has brought many challenges to our social and business normal than any one of us have participated. It is extremely difficult and troubling to immigrant and job seekers when you are facing economic downturns and many uncertainties in a new country. However, humans as an aggregated group have been through many crises in the past. One of my very well-respected RBC leader recently talked about his 40-year career experience with the banking sector and have been through his personal experience of 6 crises since 1980. Coronavirus pandemic is just one of them. We'll pass through this stage with no doubt successfully and eventually. So don't let this pandemic to put the brake of your life and your career aspirations. Be active and proactive. Seize the moment and opportunity to tune in for your future skills. Now you probably will have more time to focus on yourself, to reflect and to learn. Problems and challenges will ignite our creativity and force us to focus on the things that matters the most. Can you advance to next slide? This one, I'm going to talk about the importance of Plan B. We need to always be prepared for the possibilities that things may not go according to the plan, which is the most of the time that it happened. What should we do? Here, let me first start with a story about one of my clients. She'll be very glad that she would know I brought up her story today and share with you. But for privacy, let me just name her Lucy. Lucy came to Canada, and her immigration journey is classic. Before she came to Canada, she was a very successful sales and marketing manager working for a multinational company in product packaging and industrial design. In the year of 2000, when technology bubble burst, she landed in Canada and struggled to find a job for 9 months. Luckily, she had Plan B. She took the smart risk and became an entrepreneur to start her own business from scratch. She borrowed $4,000 from her father and started her venture from the garage with one phone, one desk, and one chair. She used the fund to buy the first equipment she needed to start her basic operations, and fast forward to 2020, her company grew to be a certified food packaging manufacturer that generates consistently over $15 to $20 million in sales revenue every year and hire over 50 Canadian employees. If the COVID-19 has taught us something, it's definitely that there is a need for Plan B. But to be clear, I'm not asking that everybody should be a business owner. The Plan B has to be realistic and implementable. It has to be within your level of flexibility and tolerance. Sometimes the Plan B could be meaning that you need to be willing to relocate in order to be more competitive in a tough job market. Sometimes the Plan B would require you to step out of your comfort zone or try different other jobs before you land your dream job. All roads leads to Rome, so be nimbling from Plan A to B, even Plan C and D, so that you will find many other doors are open for you. Next one, please. Being analytical. Yes, recently I've asked myself many times this question. When COVID-19 became the accelerator for digital transformation and data savviness, what does it mean for me, even as a veteran banker? Am I ready? How I can embrace the evolution and revolution of digitalization? I don't really have any IT background to know how to code or program, nor do I have the fancy title of being a data scientist who can uncover the magics of machine learning algorithms. You'll also find one of the most important skills that nowadays employers want in Canadian labor market probably is to be analytical. Well, being analytical is a fundamental skill. How you demonstrate your capability to use data, interpret data, and turn data into actionable insights and convey your messages will position you for better future success. Whether when it comes to securing employment in Canada or make you thrive in your future career. One of the stories I want to tell is RBC Inside Edge, which is an innovative tool that we have designed to help business owners, especially those in the space of retail business, to realize on their business expansion plans, strategics plans, and based on our data insights recommendations, such as AI recommendation on whether the entrepreneur should consider and where the location would be to open their next retail store. The sources and data is very comprehensive and sophisticated, but the tool itself will never work until we as a client trusted advisor know how to position it, know how to make it a clear visualization and demonstration of the data based on our deep knowledge about the company's business strategy and the resources and also the owner's preference. The data alone won't generate value until you have the ability to promote the value out of data instead of creating confusions. So build upon your skills to learn how to articulate data story. What is it? How is the data? And why behind it? This will turn your data analytical skills into competencies to drive those insights and acumen, which ultimately lead to profitable relationships and tangible results for your employers. The next slide, please, Jane. These slides will allow me to talk about the importance of soft skills. Hard skills and soft skills, we all know what they are and what are the difference. Hard skills such as your technical background, your education will only get you a job interview, but soft skills will get you hired and make you flourish in your career. Hard skills can be easily measured or evaluated, but soft skills are only intangible and can only be felt. After COVID-19, when the new norm is established, when people are very used to work remotely and employees are required the independence of work and adaptive to the change, soft skills will be more desirable by organizations. Soft skills are also transferable between jobs, industries, companies, and any economic circumstances that will make you a better candidate as a generalist for many other opportunities. It will also soft skills cannot be easily measured or replicated by robots or AI. Skills such as interpersonal communication skills, your problem resolution skills, conflict management skills, how you demonstrate yourself to be empathetic, how you learn from other people, be really curious and creative and influential will make you really shy or shimmer, especially when there's headwinds. Soon entering into COVID-19, the state of emergency in early March, at RBC, myself and my colleagues were requested to shift our focus and skills very fast from business acquisition mode to ramp up our contact efforts to proactively reach out to clients. At this time, not for asking for business, but to provide emotional support and compassion relief. When our clients are feeling alone, confused, powerless, and anxious, we call it the moment of truth. We even developed the skill playbook to teach us how to upskill and reskill on how to demonstrate empathy, better listening capabilities, and the way we can show that we value client relationships and reassuring to them that we can play a view together with potential solutions to navigate through this pandemic. Those skills are always required, but demanded more than ever during crisis and valued by employers and clients on the long run. There is a very interesting Wall Street Journal article which states the soft skills that employees who shake hands and make small talks will be the most wanted. The soft skills cannot be Robert's skill can't be friendly, and Robert cannot make small talks and calm disgruntled customers, which offers opportunities for people. Turn out that a lot of people are not good at it either. So in today's rapid changing environment, hard skills will only have short shelf life. Soft skills will never go out of style. So skilling yourself softly and let it become your competitive wedge. The next one. The ladder chart at the bottom of this slide is from McKinsey Consulting Firm, which summarized the 5 stages about the COVID-19 5 horizons. from the beginning stage of resolve to resilience, to return, to imagination, and reform the future that we are going to reshape. It sounds like a lot of the stages in this process, but you think back, we only begin this pandemic challenge handling journey since March. And same as many other crises, we all know that the agility that we need to demonstrate in those change management will be more than ever. And your agility intelligence or your AQ will be another thing that you have to put in mind in order to ensure your future success. Rather than call it a skill or ability, your AQ is the difference in people, how they see and perceive the world around them. It's your feelings, it's your perceptions, and it's your mindset. It started with your level of anticipation to always be alert and to be vigilant. People with high IQ see change as constant, always ask the what-if questions, and willing to take challenges and break the stability. Then move on to adaptability management, which is your willingness and desire to put forth your efforts and persistence towards an unknown outcome, to upskill obsolete knowledge, to unleash your power of imagination. To the third A, which is the action, is to allow you to be a change agent and catalyst, leading to proactively identify problems, loopholes, uncover new perspectives, cover your blind spots, resolve biasness, and willing to disrupt in order to learn and grow. Last but not least is assurance, which is your faith, your optimism, your confidence, and belief that better future is coming and we can win this all together. Next slide is a perfect example to showcase the business agility of RBC Experience Branch at Sherway Garden. I hope some of you have dropped your visit to this place. We'd rather call it a banking place. We want to call it an experience center. This probably has a lot of difference from the conventional way we conduct banking. But if you see, for example, the right bottom corner picture, which is a guy looking at a big screen, this is the moment that we want our client to experience how they can use RBC reward points of the points they accumulated from their credit card into their dreams to travel with their dear families in the upcoming vacation seasons. So the agility to allow the business to transform is from the provider of the simple solutions and products to the way the client can visualize how they can navigate with the bank. And imagine if this is the business model that we talk about, as a person, you should be also aware the way that your unique skills and competencies and your AQ so that you can put yourself in the context of this type of business agilities. Next one. Last but not least, I want to talk about the importance of how you tell your story, because no matter how wonderful you are, how capable you are, how you are ready, your story will not be known until you know the skills, how to talk it and what to talk about it. And those skills can be prepared. However, you will need to be ready and prepare those moments that when your recruiter or your hiring manager are asking you to provide the specific examples to demonstrate those moments that you have mastered of those skills. So if you want to persuade them, give them good examples. If you're asked that, how do you think you're agile? Give them that specific example, your emotions in that situation. What did you do to learn from it? What have you done differently? How can you move forward? And what can you do to further develop your other skills, such as your agility intelligence? Also, practice the storytelling is very important than the story itself. Nowadays, when using technologies more than ever from remote meetings, then the in-person interviews were likely to be replaced by video conferencing interviews or telephone interviews for a little while. So check your cameras, your audios, your visuals, your surroundings. Make sure your background is tidy enough and not showing something that you don't want recruiter to see. Is your camera at your eye level? Are you able to engage your audience? Are you losing their focus? How you be aware of that? So those are those subtle skills that you probably never encountered in your previous interview experience, but it matters so much nowadays. Lastly, I wanted to end my presentation to share with you one of my favorite quotes. It is also my personal motto. The unprecedented time is the magnifier. It magnifies people, strength, and weakness, but we all have to be aware that a smooth sea never made a skilled sailor. So professionally and personally, tough time will teach us so much. Tough time will bring out the best of people and could only be the acceleration of personal and professional achievement. Thank you so much for your time today, and best of luck in your future adventures.
Thank you so much, Shan. Such amazing information, lots of information to digest and take home with you. To wrap it up, perfect end to our session today. I'm going to have Rebecca and Jeff just to say a thank you to all before we end the session with Sylvia. Please go ahead, Rebecca. Oh, can't hear you. It's muted.
Well, thank you once again for everyone joining, and thank you, Jane and Sylvia at JBS, and for this opportunity for us to share our experience. In Chinese, there's a saying that I think it's 10,000 miles start with the first step or something. So the first step, I always remind people, you only need one job. You can have thousands. Employers say no, you only need the first job. One person to believe you, and from there, you take it one step ahead and rebuild your life and career in Canada. So, don't give up. If you get a lot of no, you only need one yes.
Thank you. Very good advice. Jeff?
Now you just put me on the spot. I always have lots of quotes, and now you did that. I've got to come up with one. One I will say that I do like to share. Jane always comments on my quote. As you're looking at, starting your career, I love that it's one step to get there. But I think as you go through, my advice would be embrace the uncomfortableness. Put yourself out there in order to embrace the challenge and the fact that it's not easy, because if you're uncomfortable, that actually means you're growing and you're learning, and that is a good thing. So, if you're comfortable, look for things that will make you uncomfortable, because it'll definitely help you grow as an individual and help you in your career. And I think, that'll be very, very helpful for you. It's helped me a lot. On that, I'll say thank you again to our panelists, Shan, Janna, Rebecca. I actually used to work with Janna when she was in credit advisory group when I was a commercial account manager. So we actually used to work with each other almost every day. And Shan went in her previous role as well, and I get to work with Rebecca in this current one. So, we're very fortunate to have great partners like yourselves, and we really appreciate your time to come out today to instill your journeys and your advice onto so many people. Thank you, Sylvia, for your partnership with JBS and letting us be a part of this as well and reaching out to so many people. And I can never leave without thanking Jane for all that you do behind the scenes. We cannot thank you enough for getting these going and organized, and the work that you put in that nobody ever sees. So thank you. Thanks, everyone. I hope you had a great event, and, there's more to come.
Thank you so much, Jeff. And Sylvia, would you like to close it for us for today?
Yeah. Of course. So thank you, everybody, for coming. As always, if you have any questions that you want to direct specifically, feel free to reach out. If there's questions about JVS, you can contact me. Or if you have any questions for any of the panelists, I'm sure they'd be happy to answer. I see a lot of comments that were talking about how they really enjoyed the session. They seem to get a lot from your mentorship. So I'm very thankful for all of you for coming to speak of your experiences. That's about it. So hopefully everybody has a great day, and we'll see you all soon.
Perfect. Thank you. This session will end, and thank you once again, everyone, for being here this afternoon. Have a wonderful day. Be safe, be well, and be happy. Take care now.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.